I think a lot of the things that I've learned in my career are colored deeply by my experience at Uber. It was sort of a once in a decade, if not once in a generation like experience. These things don't happen very often where you go from like a garage company to a global behemoth like and $60 billion company or whatever it was at its peak. And so I saw the company go from 300 people to something like 16, 17,000 people. And it was overwhelming. So I think a lot of my learnings have been colored by that experience. I'd say there's a couple of things. One is like there was a culture of truth seeking and meritocracy, at least in the early days of Uber, in a way that it was sustainable and it was not only interpreted, but also applied in a way that it was sustainable. And it meant that in service of truth, there used to be this idea that we would support the healthy stepping on each other's toes in the pursuit of truth. That works in a small setting where you know all of your colleagues and you have a personal relationship with them. Of course, as a company scales to 15,000 people, that cultural value doesn't scale. But certainly the approach or the idea that we're okay generating this friction to be in service of the truth was a very valuable lesson to take away, because a lot of the big companies are usually slow or unable to compete with a nimble competitor, mostly because of politics and or bureaucracy. Either there's internal politics that's explicit, or it's just a bureaucratic nightmare where there's like decision making by committee. And often the best decisions or the most ambitious goals are not achieved by consensus and so it was really valuable to learn that lesson early on of sort of how to be truth seeking. So I would say that's one big one. And the other is most people like sort of treat life as binary, where it's either high risk, high reward, or low risk and low reward. And there's sort of no median option. I think the other thing I learned is like there's always a secret third door, and it's just up to you to explore that secret third door where you can protect your downside risk and still have near unlimited upside in that context. But often things that are binary are not, and there's usually a third door. And so I always view any frame that presents two options dead on arrival because there's always a third.